This corner. I have an exciting guest tonight, and I will bring her on shortly. Just want to tell you a little bit about the Author's Corner. It is a weekly uh, live show that we do on Facebook as well as Periscope and YouTube. And we talk about getting your book written. I talk to writers at different levels in their writing experience. Okay, and so tonight I have a guest who is a best-selling author. Her name is K.L. Brady. Let me read this so I don't get anything wrong. So, USA Today best-selling author K.L. Brady is a D.C. native and award-winning author of 16 novels. She self-published her first book, The Bum Magnet, which was picked up by Simon and Schuster and a new book deal. She's been publishing ever since. She will publish 2 romantic comedies, including a new Christmas novel later this year. And so, without further ado, let's introduce you to Miss K.L. Brady. How are you, Miss K.L. Brady?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
I feel really good and honored that for you to be a part of the show tonight. And we just can't wait to get into asking you some questions about your career as a writer. I will tell you that I met you through the Black Writers Guild.
Yep.
I came there one Saturday, and I just thought, well, let me just see what this is all about. And I came there, and I was blown away with your story, with your book, and your whole discipline for writing. It just really charged me up, really excited me. And I'm glad that we've been able to stay connected through the years. And so I want to get started with, well, thanking you for coming on. And then I want to ask you, when did you first realize you wanted to be a writer?
Oh, boy. That's a good question. So, honestly, like I knew when I was young. When I was probably 7 or 8, my mother started buying me those diaries with a little lock on them.
Okay.
And I would write, I'd write till my little heart was content and then like stash them away. And she was reading them. I didn't know. I was locking it. She was unlocking it and reading.
Oh,
but
boy.
So I hope I kept her entertained. But that's kind of how I got started. And I was practicing my signature way back then. I was practicing how I would sign books back then. But honestly, it just seems so big. Like becoming an author just seems so much bigger than what I was capable of. Like, I was always a reader, so I always put authors on a pedestal, So all the authors I read, like I thought, I can't do that. And I carried that with me all the way up, through becoming an adult. And then it wasn't until, a little while before my 40th birthday that I actually sat down and wrote and allowed myself to write badly, because, that's the thing. You have to really kind of get to the point where you're just like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to allow myself to be bad at it at first and get better. So, yeah.
That's good. That's good. How long does it take you to write a book on average?
It varies. So
Okay.
when I first started, I would say it's never taken me over a year to write a book.
Okay.
Generally speaking, like it's usually a lot less. I usually put myself on a strict writing regimen when I'm writing, when I have an idea.
Okay.
So I literally sit down every day. And if it's just 2 sentences and that's all I can get out that day, then I write 2 sentences. But generally speaking, I can write maybe a 70,000 word novel in about 4 months, 5 months. First ugly draft. Okay. So that's not perfection. That is 70,000 words that I have to go back and rewrite and edit and all that kind of stuff. But yeah.
Okay.
It takes about 4 or 5 months.
4 or 5 months. So when you say 70,000 words, what does that equate to as far as pages in a book?
It's usually about 300 something pages. It depends on, the format. Like if it's a 6x9 book, that's probably well over 300 pages.
Okay, that's good for the audience. What is your work schedule like when you're writing?
So this is how, everybody's like, how do you write? Like, I have a full-time job. I'm a proposal writer. So I work maybe 12, 13-hour days.
Okay.
Sometimes more, 14, 15-hour days. So people are like, how do you maintain production with that kind of busy work schedule? And the thing is, I wake up very early in the morning. I am usually up with the birds about 4 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
And I usually will write for 2 hours, 2.5 hours before work. And thankfully I work from home. So I come downstairs, I do my work day, and then I go back upstairs and I write. And that's when I'm, that's usually during the week. And I usually cut myself some slack on the weekends and stuff.
Okay.
But if I'm under deadline, I'm writing like all the time. So
okay. So where do you get your information or ideas for the book? And I'm especially curious about the bum magnet. I like that book.
So okay, so that one literally, well, it came from multiple places. My life is part of it, but also experience. Some of that stuff was not mine. Like some of it I had just seen friends go through, but it was like based on all personal experience or personal knowledge that I had from people. And then my own personal experience. A lot of times that's where your first book comes from, right?
Okay.
People always tell you, write what you know. And so a lot of times that first book comes and it's usually your experience in some way, shape, or form. However, you've like changed it and like changed the names to protect the innocent and the guilty, right? But a lot of times it's just, it comes from your personal life. And then after that first book, maybe the second book, then you kind of start getting away from that and like writing other topics and stuff. Fortunately for me though, I will say this, between my career, like my first life, in my first life, I was in the intelligence community.
Okay.
So between working in the intelligence community for 20 years and then all my like personal experiences, like I have so much material just from living that I pretty much, that's where it all comes from. It's not going to be fully like, I never write like autobiographies or anything like that. It's not my life word for word, but the ideas and the seeds for the books definitely come from my life experiences.
Okay, it's good. It's good. What was one of the most surprising things you learned in creating your books?
Wow, that's a good question. Because I learned so much. Honestly, like I think maybe the thing to learn is how much you have to learn. And I don't care how many years you've been in this business.
Mm-hmm.
I've been writing books since 2009. I think I published my first book. So this is 2020. So that's 11 years. And honestly, there's not a day that goes by that I'm not learning something new about this business, about the dedication that it takes, about the persistence, about how you can go through this business and you can have misconceptions about what you think your career is supposed to be by looking at everybody else's career. Okay. You're like, why are they getting this and I'm not? And then, at some point you kind of learn, at least I have learned, to stay in my own lane,
okay,
to do my own thing, to best myself and don't worry about what's going on in somebody else's career. And I think, that's the biggest lesson, because we get hampered by what we think somebody else is getting that we're supposed to be getting and all this. It's not, no, your journey is your journey. Somebody else's journey is their journey. And you're not supposed to, get the same stuff. And you may be in your journey because you have things to learn that they don't have to learn. And so you just have to take your journey for what it is. So I love my journey, honestly. Like it's, nothing's ever stopped me, as evidenced by this. If you can see the books hanging on the back of the wall.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's what that is. Okay.
I keep working. I don't care what's going on around me or whatever. Even when we're going through like political turmoil and stuff like this is the time where I dig in and write to kind of work my way through it. So.
Oh, good, good. What does your family think of your writing?
It's so funny with family. So, I have some family that is very supportive.
Okay.
And then I have other family members that are like, you do what? Well, when are you going to stop that and go back to work? You know what I mean? Like the 9 to 5. You should really be focused on what you're doing in your 9 to 5 job. So a lot of family will not get it. But I think what you have to learn there is to take the support we can get. And for people who don't get it, who don't understand your career, who don't understand your journey, you just have to move on and forgive them for that. And just, so a lot of times when I, have discussions with my family, even my own dad, I would say my mom was she was a reader. So she was like ultra supportive. She passed away, but she was ultra supportive. She read everything I wrote. She loved it. My dad is the complete flip side. He supports me 1,000%, but he is not a reader. So I'm actually kind of thankful he's not read some of my books, but so, it just varies, and you just have understand what your relationship is with whoever it is. And then understand sometimes you're going to be talking about reality TV with those people. You're not going to be talking about your next project, and that's okay.
Yeah, yeah. So I do want to tell the audience that's watching, please type in questions for KL Brady. How many books have you written?
So I'm getting ready to publish 2 later this year. So that is actually going to make, I think 17 total.
Wow.
Yeah.
17. I think I'm doing something with 6 books.
Yeah, it's been a journey. But honestly, what I will say is that the wonderful thing about this is every book that I have published, whether it's been for a publisher or whether it's been as an independent publisher, I truly love what I write. I truly hope that it brings something to people that read it. You know what I mean? I'm the humorist. So I write a lot of romantic comedy and stuff. So if people write me all the time saying, oh, this cracked me up or that was so funny. And to me, I don't care if it's one person. I've said that from the beginning of my career. I don't care if one person reads it. If one person is reading my work and is enjoying it and getting something out of it, then I'm going to keep writing. And that has been, kind of my standard. Just one person.
Yeah,
thankfully, it's more than that, but
yeah.
But I will write for one.
I hate to cut you off, but I think you said that when I first met you, that if you have one person who enjoys what you write, then it's worth writing. Yeah. And that's been a motivation for me as well. When people come back and say they enjoyed your writing. So tell us a little bit about publishing.
Where to begin?
Yeah.
So I'm probably what they would call a hybrid author, in that I have published with a traditional publisher and I've indie published. Okay. So what I will say is that the experience is vastly different. There's some similarities, but they're vastly different. One thing is, when you're an independent writer, you have to understand that you are the business. You are the whole business.
Whole business. Wow.
You have got to write it. You have got to make sure, figure out who you can outsource to for editing, book covers, all of that stuff is up to you. Tracking your royalties is up to you. Publishing it on different platforms is up to you. It's all up to you. Marketing and promotion, all up to you.
All up to you. Wow.
When you do go through a traditional publisher, you'd actually be surprised at how much work you still have to do. So it's no longer, maybe one day it was, you just write your manuscript and hand it over and somebody else did all the magic. Not now. when you write a book, you help edit. Even though they have editors and stuff, you have to do editing passes on your own work. When I did mine, it was 3 passes, and they had copy editors and all that stuff, and still miss stuff. So you have to do it yourself. Yes.
Okay.
And then, they'll do your covers, but I was fortunate. They included me in choosing covers, choosing models, and all of that kind of stuff. So you do have a say in that, if you have a publisher that's going to engage you. And then when it comes to marketing and promotion, unless you're big time, a celebrity, or you're a big time author, sorry to tell you, you're going to have to promote just like the independent author promotes, if not more.
Oh, boy.
Because you have a lot more to lose when you're traditionally published. You're trying to maintain a contract, and if you don't make so many sales, the publisher is not going to keep you. They're not going to keep granting you contracts. So you have to work and be successful, and you've got to go out there and promote your work. Otherwise, you're not going to maintain your contract. And so that's the reality of the business. It's a business.
Yes.
It's money. And it's dollars and cents, and it's not feeling. It's it's not how much they love you. It's how much can you make the business. So
okay, yeah, that's good. That's good for folks to think about. Do you hear from your readers much, and what kind of things do they say? I know you said a little bit about what they say, but what are some other things they might say?
Oh my goodness. That's probably my most favorite thing in the world, when I have readers reach out to me. And I have had some of the best emails. They range from, oh, I loved your book. It made me laugh, to I didn't like so-and-so character because, they shouldn't have done so-and-so. In my mind, I'm always like, you can always write a book.
Yeah.
And your characters can do whatever you want them to, but this is what mine did,
Right.
But I'm always appreciative. But I think one of my most favorite things, a reader read The Bum Magnet. She was from Egypt. And she wrote me and she said, Karla, I just want to tell you, I read The Bum Magnet and it's the same thing over here. And so it was really funny because I had never really thought of that before. As an African American, I think of it as an American experience when it's actually a woman's experience, and it could be any woman anywhere in the world. And it really connected for me at that moment that there were people around the world who had read my book and who were connected with it on the fact that this experience was the thing that was the bond.
Yeah.
So that was really awesome. So, but a lot of people tell me that about my books, that it's really kind of the realistic look at relationships, that they really like about the characters. So
good. So the big question is that I was thinking, I was trying to find where it was worded, but what do you do when you're not writing?
Oh my goodness. So work. The 9 to 5.
Yeah.
That's my other computer. You can see it in the background.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, so I do that. But I have a son, I have a dog. I take my dog out, I, go out for walks and shop. I'm a shopaholic.
Okay.
I hate to say it, but yeah. So I do all kinds of other things, I've probably become a little more reclusive as I got older, just because I'm working so much. But I do have friends over. I just finished redoing my deck so that I can enjoy, sitting out on my deck, and so I do stuff all the time. But yeah, I'm a homebody a lot. So watch a lot of movies. I love movies.
Yeah, I love them too. Well, good. What suggestions do you have to someone starting out on the writing journey? What kind of words of advice would you give someone just starting out? They want to get their first book written.
So the first thing I would say is just write. You know, I can't even tell you how many people have come to me and they're like, Karla, so I'm on my third chapter of my book, and how do I get published? And I'm like, first of all, you need to finish the book.
Yes, yes.
That's what you focus on first. Write, finish your book. Don't worry about how you're going to get published, who's going to publish you. If you haven't finished a book and you're thinking about that, you're thinking way past where you need to be. And you're probably not going to get your book finished for thinking that far ahead. Just stay focused on getting the words on the page. The other thing I would say is don't try to write for perfection.
Okay.
And do not write knowing that it's going to be crappy, because it's easier to work with words on a page, even if they're horrible, than it is to work with a blank page.
Yes, that's good.
So get your words on the page. I don't care how you get it on there. You can speak it into a recorder and transcribe it.
Mm-hmm.
You can scribble it in a notebook if that's what you like, writing longhand, and type it up later. But just get it out of your head and onto some form of paper and worry about making it perfect later. That's huge. I find that to be like the biggest obstacle for a lot of writers is just writing. Don't tell your cousin that writes the books that you want them to write your autobiography. You write it, but but start with getting the pen to paper in any form. It doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter how badly it's written. It doesn't matter if you write it in all bullets. It doesn't matter if you write 2 words on a page and flip the page and write the rest on the. It doesn't matter. Just get it out of your head. So, and then my recommendation is to write something every day, whether it's a sentence, whether it's a paragraph, whatever. Make progress. Every word is progress. And that's the only way that you're going to get to the end is to keep writing. So I recommend taking some time out, even if it's 15, 20 minutes, whatever time you have to dedicate to. As I know there's a lot of working moms. I was one of those writing too. So I get it. I know it's hard to juggle everything, but if there's something you truly want to do, take 10, 15 minutes, hide yourself, wake up before everybody in the house does, write. But take that time and get the words out of your head onto paper. And then you can figure out how you're going to get it edited and how you're going to get published and all that kind of stuff.
That's good. That's good. It so lines up with the same thing I say. You got to get them thoughts out of your head. You got to get them. And I say record it, grab your phone, write it down, but you got to get it out of your head, and you can clean it up later.
Yep.
Yeah, that's real good.
I agree.
I so admire your discipline. I mean, every time I hear you speak, I'm just like blown away. Like, wow. Like one day I'm going to be a KL Brady.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, man. But, honestly, I'd say one thing that I can say, and it's probably a blessing, it's a blessing and a curse, but my career has afforded me humility.
Okay.
I have not blown up to the point where I can't relate to struggling with getting words on a page. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
figuring out how to be disciplined and all of that. Nobody can say, "Oh, Karla's so that's why she's so big," because she her career allows her to be. No, actually it doesn't. Actually, I do sit down and write every day just for the love of it. It's not because I'm making hundreds of thousands of dollars like a lot of other authors are making. I'm probably the example that you see 17 books. That is because I truly love writing. It is not because I have like 5 movie deals and, book deals with big publishers. I truly am writing because I love it. So I should be the example that if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah.
It's a matter of having discipline.
Yeah. I've been encouraged the first time I met you, when you came back again to the Black Writers Guild. I actually have a shot with you. It's on Facebook and all that. Yeah, I think you shared it with me just a few days ago. and then what you're sharing now, I believe that you're going to really help a lot of new writers. I started this corner to try to help out new writers get to book, and so I'm doing some book coaching. What do you think about that? Have you done that?
So here's my thing, right?
Yeah.
I think it's great if you need it,
Okay.
right? I
Right.
think it's great to have a coach if you need it. But what I will say is that you're not always going to have a coach.
Okay.
At some point in your life, you have to figure out how to motivate yourself,
Okay.
how to get yourself to the page, how to write. And a lot of what people teach people nowadays, you can learn on the internet if you have enough discipline to sit there and do that. But I don't knock that the coaches. I think it's great.
Okay.
But understand that there's only so far a coach can take you. You
Yes.
know what I mean?
Yes.
There's-
I agree.
They can help you, set a foundation. But at some point, something inside of you has got to kick in,
Okay.
and you've got to do the work, and you have, got to put the investment in it. So, and you've got to self-motivate. That's the biggest thing, and that's probably the hardest thing. A lot of getting yourself motivated to sit down and write is probably harder than the actual writing.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. I shared with the audience about timers. You talked about getting up 4 o'clock. That's my time. Making sure you write when the house is quiet.
Yes.
All of that. But I really like you said you have to write every day.
Yes.
Even if it's just a sentence, you have to sort of have a discipline of writing on a daily basis.
You really do. What I have learned is that when I sit down to write, if I don't write, nothing's coming. Because I can fill my day with other stuff and my brain with other stuff, and the words will never come because I have not made room for it. But if you make room for the writing will come. And if you make it a habit, your body will start to learn that time when there's going to be space for it, and you will empty at that time. But you have to kind of build that. It's muscle memory. You've got to kind of build that before your body will flow into that. You know what I mean? And allow you to release your writing at that time. But that's why I do it. Sometimes I find that I don't even sleep. Now I don't even use an alarm clock. I just wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. My body's up. It says I know this is writing time.
Yeah.
And I get to work. I have a little routine I go through in the morning to kind of get myself ready, get myself dressed and all that kind of stuff, get my coffee, sit down, and I'm off to the races until 6:30, 7 o'clock. So.
Good discipline, and so much humility in a writer, even after 17 books. I invited audience to kind of post some questions. I got one from Lavelle Jackson. He said good stuff, so he's liking what's being shared.
Oh, great! Thank you.
So let me see here if I got another question. I said, I think I asked that. So a lot of people want to know about writer's block. Have you ever experienced that? I don't think you can if you're writing every day, but
no. But you absolutely can get. Even if you're writing every day, you can get writer's block on the thing that you want to write on, right?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Sometimes I'll be working on a book and I will hit the block where I can't finish my chapter. And I may not be able to write anything else in that book. But what I do is write whatever's there. Even if I am sitting there writing, I am struggling with writing today. I'm blocked and I don't know where the ideas are going to come from. I'm super frustrated. A lot of times I find that the block comes from something going on in my my life. And that if I write kind of a diary and just talk about what's going on, that I will kind of get that part out of my head, and then I'll be able to go ahead and write my book. So, Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Because I think sometimes for a new writer, maybe it's not writer's block as much as it is just staying in the flow. But I guess they could experience writer's block too if for a new writer. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think a lot of times it's intimidation, right?
Okay.
You're intimidated by the process. You're scared that it's not going to be good and all of that kind of stuff. And what I can tell you is, it's probably not going to be good at first. It's probably going to suck. But
Keeping it
leaning
real.
into
Thank
the
you.
fact that it's going to be bad when you
Yeah.
first start, that it's going to get better, that anything written can get better with work.
Okay.
But you understand that a lot of times that first draft is going to be horrible. I can tell you, my first drafts are from the first book to the 17th book, my first drafts have gotten better, but they're all bad.
Okay. That's
And
good.
there's nothing I would ever publish, So, so you just lean into the fact that, hey, don't be intimidated. Just get it down, understand it's going to be bad, but you're going to have time to fix it. So.
Okay. Good. That's good. I got a question here for you. It says, do you think Amazon is a good place to promote or Lulu?
I do not recommend Lulu or anything like that.
Okay.
No services like that at all. And I say that because, and when I started, I kind of did the research on the business side. This is me. I kind of have the half and half brain where I'm half analytical, half creative. And I have an MBA. So,
Okay.
so,
That helps.
so when I was looking into the business side of publishing, I really did thorough research. And what I can tell you is that those services that like Lulu and stuff that charge you hundreds and hundreds of dollars to publish, you can do it a lot cheaper on your own with just some research. And I had a blog from back in the day that really kind of walked you through the beginning of the process of how to do it yourself and cheaply, because I had to do everything on a budget. I was a single mom trying to publish.
Yeah.
And so I really had to do everything on a budget. There was no thousands and thousands of dollars and I was going to have, no, I had to do it very cheaply. So I did all the research to figure out how to do it cheaply and how to do it right. And so the research is out there. Now I will tell you that blog is still out there.
Okay.
And it will give you a good baseline understanding of publishing, even though some things have changed. But a lot of it is still the same. Getting ISBNs is the same. Formatting your book for ebook and stuff. A lot of that's the same. Finding cover designers is kind of the same. Finding editors and stuff. It's kind of the same. It's kind of the same process. We just have a lot of new tools to use. So I would say, if you want to primer, you could go to that blog. It's called cheapindieauthor.blogspot.com. cheapindieauthor.blogspot.com. And you go there and, you'll be able to figure out good ways to start at least your career, get your books posted in the right place. I even got mine in Barnes and Noble before I was published by Simon and Schuster. So my books were on the shelves in Barnes and Noble before I even got a publishing deal. So yeah, it's possible.
So would you say something about Amazon? I know you said something about Lulu.
I think you need to have Amazon. I think Amazon's a must in terms of publishing your book, but you understand that's a place to hang your book. That's not really promotion, right? Okay. So promotion, I would consider things like doing blog tours. To me, I can still consider blog tours critical. Goodreads is a good place to promote your work, but you have to promote within their guidelines. Otherwise, you also become kind of a pain in the butt.
Okay.
And you might end up hurting yourself on Goodreads more than helping yourself with the readers. But Goodreads is a good place to promote. Doing Twitter, Facebook, IG. Those are all good places to promote. But what I would say is, again, you have to do it sparingly. Promotion now as an author should be as part of communication with the readers, and it shouldn't be the only thing that you're doing to promote. So let's say you write a book about cars, right? Then 10 posts should be about new cars that are out there, and then one post should be about your book. So you really should be using the other stuff to engage readers, and then promoting your book as part of your regular communication with readers. Don't post every post is your book.
Okay.
Know, then you become annoying, and you become that. And trust me, I talk to writers all the time, and they get annoyed by readers. I mean, they get annoyed by other writers who constantly promote. Don't jump on other people's Facebook page, timelines, and throw your book up there. No, don't do stuff like that will get you in trouble every time. So, but it's building a relationship with your readers, and that is through the same way you would build any relationship. You're not going to do it by throwing your book at people all the time, and talk about other stuff, and then include your book as part of those discussions, but it shouldn't be the only thing that you're talking about. That's the way to promote nowadays.
That's good. You shared that before at Black Writers Guild too, to not overdo it and be annoying.
Yes.
So,
it is very easy to cross that line, trust me. And now, if you look at my timeline, I talk about everything other than books, and then every now and then you'll see me throw something in about my books. But that's how you do it. You don't just throw your book cover at people all the time, because people will just shut you down. They'll hide your timeline and stuff like that. Karla gets on my nerves. I can't deal with her, So no, you don't want to do that. You want to engage people so that, and then when you put your books out there, people are like, oh, Karla just said something about her book, and she hadn't done that in like 2 months. So this must be something exciting. Yeah, let's look and see what's going on. So.
That's good. Can you tell us how folks can get in touch with you? I think your website is pretty simple to get to.
Yeah.
Share some of that with us, because I know there are people that are going to watch this video and want to say, I want to talk to her.
Sure. So there's multiple ways to get in touch with me. The best way is to go to my website, which is klauthor.com. And then there's a contact form on there that comes straight to my email. So you can find me that way. You find me I'm on IG and Twitter, KL Brady. If you look up KL Brady, you can find me there. And if you look up KL Brady on Facebook, you can find my Facebook page, and I always respond to messages and stuff there. So I'm pretty findable, easily findable.
Yeah. I did some searching. You said long ago that if you type in KL Brady, that you don't really have much competition with that name.
Yeah. If you even Google my name, like my website, and all my pages and everything will come up on the first page. So yeah, I'm the hardest one.
That's good. Well, I want to thank you for your time and being the guest tonight on the Author's Corner. And I wish you much success. You're working hard. You're an inspiration to me. I'm working on some projects too. I'm kind of quiet about them because I think sometimes if you say it, then all of a sudden you got to fulfill it now. So you just keep it quiet. I
agree with that. I think that is a great thing. And that's the way I am too. Like, I have things going on in the background that I'm not talking about, right. But I think it's good to keep them quiet until, you get some steam under them. So I think that's great. But I really appreciate you inviting me today. It was great to talk about writing.
Well, thank you. And you have a good evening. I haven't seen any more comments over here, so we'll call it a night.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, KL.
Okay.